Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're going to break down 13 of the best tips and tricks for your next Walt Disney World vacation. And if you've been watching our videos, you already know we've been showing a lot of love to our friends over at Universal Orlando Resort, but that's why I'm so excited for this video to get back over to Disney and just break down some of the best things that you will want to know if you are in the process of planning a Walt Disney World vacation, because we all know there's a lot that goes into planning a Disney vacation these days. So I really hope that you stick around to the end of this video, because we are going to break down some of the most popular stuff that we come across, some of the most popular tips and tricks. And we're talking about before your vacation even starts into when you actually get down to Orlando. We're going to break down a little bit of everything in this video. I'm really excited for this video. I'm excited to talk about Disney once again. So let's go get started. Thank you all so much for checking out this video. Like I said, we are going to get you as prepared as possible for your next Disney vacation with 13 of the best tips and tricks for Walt Disney World. So if this sounds like something that you are interested in, or if you do need more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to our channel, as we do have a lot more great content similar to this coming out in the coming weeks. But without any further ado, let's go get started. And starting out with number one, we're going to kind of talk about a little something that goes in before you actually get down to Disney. And we would say set your Disney Genie preferences in advance. Now, Disney Genie is the free portion of the upgraded My Disney Experience app, and essentially the Disney Genie will give you suggestions for park rides and just dining, like all that good stuff throughout your day in the parks. And again, it is tailored to what your interests are, so it's important that you kind of set that up beforehand, just so you save yourself some time when you get down, and also just get familiar with this portion of the app before you get down to Disney. I will say that we've gotten some mixed results. It kind of makes sense that, you would think that Disney might be recommending some of the stuff that they want you to do. With that being said, if this does sound like something that you're interested in, if you want a park plan or just an itinerary going into your day, you can always team up with a company like the Park Prodigy. We give free park plans to all of our clients, customized to what are your must-do rides. So again, just starting out with number one, you have a couple options, but this is really important. Make sure that you go through the steps, have everything set up to have a game plan going into your trip. Okay, so moving on to number two, and we would say get familiar with the transportation options, but specifically for this one, get familiar with the bus schedules and the bus options at your hotel. And one of the reasons why we're emphasizing the buses is because I think the Skyliner monorail boats, right, they get all the fame and glory when it comes to Disney transportation, but realistically, the buses are the most popular. They're really just what most of the hotels still have, because there's just so many Disney hotels. And a couple quick tips. Just in general, the Disney buses will start running 45 minutes before park opens, and that's 45 minutes before early park entry if you are staying at a Disney World hotel, and then 1 hour after park close. And now I think really the most important thing is if you are staying in one of the larger Disney hotels, let's say the Monarch resorts, or really the Disney Vacation Club hotels that just have a lot of resorts, or really just the Disney Vacation Club hotels that have a lot of rooms, just the larger resorts, there might be multiple bus stops. And it's important for us to mention that because it might take you a little bit longer to get over to the parks in the morning, and then same thing coming back at night. It's just important for you to plan around that. Okay, so moving on to number three, and this is really once you get inside the parks and you're having you have fun in the parks. But we would say if you are planning for parades and fireworks, make sure that you plan time ahead to go and grab yourself a good spot. And this is specifically very, very important for the major fireworks shows. We would say Harmonious, and as of right now, it is still Enchantment, but news has been dropping. We are gonna hopefully have Happily Ever After coming back in the future. So if you're watching this video in the future, but what I'm talking about is there's nothing better than a great view of the fireworks. Same thing with the parades, right? But we would say make sure that you plan to get there ahead of time just to grab yourself a good spot. And I think the most important thing is, let's say for the fireworks, if the fireworks start at 9 o'clock, right? If you run over at 8:55, you're most likely not going to be able to get a spot. The fireworks, everyone lines up. I would say as a general rule of thumb, I would plan to arrive 30 to 45 minutes before. And I know that sounds like a lot, but again, this is if it's important to you. I'm just, if this is parades and fireworks are very, very important to you, I want to make sure that you get a good spot, and that's typically what we recommend for our clients. And listen, what you could do is go grab your spot, mom or dad assign someone to go grab snacks for everyone, treats, ice cream, funnel cake, like all that good stuff, so that you don't have to just sit there for 45 minutes. You can have someone go and grab you snacks, and everyone, maybe that's the snack portion of the night. But again, you want to get a good view, do the right thing, show up a little bit early. Okay, so moving on to number 4, and we would say avoid long gift shop lines with the mobile checkout at certain stores. Now, did you know that you could check out for souvenirs on your phone? Yes, in the digital world that we live in, this is something that we love. You can very simply scan the store's QR code, sign, and follow the steps to check out. Now, it's very, very important that you do have to show the receipt before you walk out, and you can now avoid long lines when shopping at your favorite Disney merchandise stores. We would also say that if you have some time, make sure that you check out the stores during the middle of the day, because of course we all know that at the end of the night, the mad rush, this is when the stores do get the busiest. Okay, moving on to number 5, and we would say for those families that haven't visited Walt Disney World since 2020, remember that there is a new park hopping and park reservation system in place. And that is, of course, as of the recording of this video in September of 2022. Okay, so we're gonna start with the reservation system. And as of August 23rd, changes to the Disney Park reservation system. Guests with an existing Disney Park Pass reservation can now modify the date and park without canceling and making a new reservation. But more importantly, guests just have to be aware that you do have to make a Disney Park reservation to get into one of the main 4 Disney World parks at this point in time. Moving over to park hopping, guests can now park hop after 2 p.m. So that is different from the past when you can essentially just park hop whenever you would like. But more importantly, if you are planning to park hop, you do not have to make a reservation for whichever park you plan to visit second, whichever park you plan to park hop over to. So you only need a reservation for the park that you are going to start your day at. So if you're starting your day at Magic Kingdom and you plan to park hop over to Epcot at 2 o'clock, you only need a reservation for Magic Kingdom, and you do need to make sure that you enter the Magic Kingdom park in the morning or anytime before 2 o'clock. All right, moving on to number 6, and this is a little tip and trick that a lot of my Florida locals might know, but ride all the outdoor rides in the morning. Now, Florida is known for its afternoon rainstorms, and if there's lightning in the area, Disney will close any of the outdoor rides, for everyone's safety. So with that being said, we always suggest to hit up the outdoor rides early in the morning. And of course, just like it sounds, this allows you to get on the rides before any rain comes into the area whatsoever. Also, if you can't do it in the morning, on the reverse side, same thing, just hit the rides up at night. Typically the Florida nights, the rain will go away by like 5 or 6 o'clock. Okay, moving on to tip and trick number 7, use the rider swap. So if someone doesn't want to ride an attraction, or let's just say you have young kids and they're not tall enough to go on a ride, but the whole family wants to stay together, just let a cast member know that you will be using the rider swap. Now, essentially, just like it sounds, very similar to over at Universal Orlando. Very simply, one of the parents can wait with the young child or whoever would not like to go on the ride, while the other guests can go on the ride. And then, when the guests are done on the ride, very simply they swap. So everyone who wants to have a chance to experience the attraction can experience the attraction. With that being said, the whole family can stay together online. It's just a great way to just make the best if someone, like we said, does not want to go on the attraction. And it's also important to note, if you do use Genie Plus, everyone does need to have a Genie Plus pass when using the rider swap. Okay, and speaking of Genie Plus, moving on to number 8, know what an individual lightning lane is and decide if you want to purchase it or rope drop these rides for a shorter wait. Now, as of the recording of this video, there are 4 rides in total that are using the individual lightning lane, and essentially this is a pay per ride to skip the line. Magic Kingdom, we have the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Over at Epcot, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Hollywood Studios, we have Rise of the Resistance. And at Animal Kingdom, we have Avatar Flight of Passage. Now, we actually have a full blog post on it. Shows you the prices. It shows you, if you should use it. There's a lot of strategy, I would say, that goes into this. We'll leave a link to that blog in our comment section, but we would say definitely go and check that out and just get a little bit more familiar with the process. Start to think about if the individual lightning lanes do make sense for you. Okay, and moving on to number 9, and again, kind of tying into the individual lightning lanes, moving over to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. But how exactly do you ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind? And we would say tip and trick, just make sure you get familiar with the process. As of the recording, again, there's only 2 ways that you can get on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and one of them is joining a virtual queue at 7 a.m. or at 1 p.m. while inside the parks. That's right, there's no regular old school, you walk up to the ride and just get online. You have to join a virtual queue in order to even get to that point. Essentially, the way the virtual queue works is if you're able to join it, you'll get it's like old school, get a number. You'll get a number, and when Disney calls that number, you can then go and wait on the line, right? So again, it's important to understand that, and if this is a top priority, make sure you get familiar with how to join the virtual queue. Or option number 2, like we just discussed, you can purchase an individual lightning lane, but just again, be familiar with that going into your Disney trip, because this ride really does live up to the hype, like I said, and we want to make sure that you get on it if it is a top priority. Okay, so moving on to tip and trick number 10, and we would say book your value resort as soon as possible if a value resort is on your priority list. And the main reason is, as of the recording of this video, Disney resorts are pretty much booked up through the rest of 2022. So if you're looking to visit during any of the peak times, it's really to your benefit to plan as early as possible. The other cool thing that I think a lot of people might not realize is that for a Disney World vacation package, 30 days or more out, you only need to put $200 down for a deposit. And as long as you cancel within, up before the 30 days. So if you cancel in advance, you're pretty much going to get that full deposit back. So if you think you're going and you could kind of spend the $200 just to put the deposit down, I would say do it sooner rather than later, because at that point there's really no benefit to waiting, especially when you look and if the value resorts are really, really popular, right? Or any of the Disney resorts are really popular. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot keep people out of Walt Disney World, right? Just make sure you put the deposit down. So at least you have your package, and then you can plan all the details around that. Okay, and then kind of staying on point, moving over to number 11, make sure you get familiar and learn the different Disney resort benefits. Now, there's a lot of cool new benefits that are going on in Walt Disney World, such as the early theme park entry, and then also extended evening hours. So sticking with the early theme park entry to get started. So early entry is for all Disney theme park and Good Neighbor Hotel guests. Now you can enter any of the 4 Disney theme parks 30 minutes before the park opens. And again, this is different from the old school way where Disney would typically just open up one park, but now you have all 4 parks, so you have your choice. And then moving over to night, Disney does have extended evening hours. Now this is only for deluxe hotel guests, including deluxe Good Neighbor hotels like the Swan and Dolphin, and you could stay 30 minutes after the park closes, or some nights they do have it a little bit extended. Now it's important to note that it's not every night at every park, so you have to be sure to check the hours on the My Disney Experience app to see when it is available. Okay, so moving on to number 12, and this is one of the newest things to come to Walt Disney World, and this is Magic Band Plus. Now, there's a lot of cool things that have gone on in the new Magic Band Plus, and here are some of the highlights that we have picked up. The Disney Fab 50 Quest, you can use your Magic Band Plus to bring sculptures to life. Wave your hand to sprinkle virtual pixie dust at each of the Disney Fab 50 character sculptures for different interactions. Going over to Star Wars, Batu Bounty Hunters Experience, use your band to find virtual bounties hidden throughout Black Spire Outpost, and different vibrations and lights throughout the band will guide you on the right path. Jumping back to parades and fireworks, experience nighttime spectaculars in a new way. Your Disney Magic Band Plus will light up and complement the magic in the skies. And it's important to note that the band also comes with a charger, and most of the time they will not come fully charged, so be sure that you charge it before you get into the parks. And Disney has also said that the band should last 1 to 3 days, depending on how much you use them. The other cool thing that we do want to mention is if your Magic Band does die throughout the day, it will still work like the old school Magic Bands do, where you could still scan into the parks and use them for lightning lanes to open up your hotel room door. And last but not least, Magic Band Pluses do start at $34.99 per night, which is pretty cheap considering we are talking about Disney. All right, and then speaking of prices, to leave the list over at number 13, and we would say just be aware of all the different changes, but specifically be aware of some of the new changes that do have an additional cost when planning your Disney World vacation. And we've actually talked about a lot of them on this list, and we would say that the most important that come to mind is there is no longer free Disney transportation. The Magical Express is no longer working, so you do have to pay if you do want that bus transportation to and from your Disney World hotel. Of course, we do have the new Disney Genie Plus, so the old Fast Pass system is no longer in play. You do have to pay to use the Disney Genie Plus these days. We've spoken about the individual lightning lanes, and we would just say, again, from a budgeting standpoint, the tip and trick is just make sure that you are budgeting this stuff in from the get-go, because it can add up very, very quickly, especially a lot of Disney Genie Plus is per person per day, right? So again, we would just say be familiar with the different changes, do a little bit more research, or you could just team up with a company like the Park Prodigy if you are in the process of planning a Walt Disney World vacation, and we'll make sure to fill you in on all of these new changes to get you as prepared as possible, like we did say. But that is the list, guys, from 1 all the way over to 13. Those are some of the best tips and tricks that we have picked up. We definitely could have made this list a lot longer, and we definitely will have a lot more videos about the best tips and tricks, different stuff going on in Walt Disney World. I hope you found this video helpful. Like I said, if you are in the process of planning a Disney World vacation, just be sure to go and check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. We do have a bunch of free vacation planning tools. We have a bunch of discounted Disney World vacation packages, Disney World tickets, everything you need to be as prepared as possible for your next Disney World trip. I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys again so much for checking out this video. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.